How do we know that our Geom4 installation is successful? First, we need to understand that a Geom4 application needs Geom4 datasets and compiled Geom4 libraries to run. And Geom4 header files are needed to compile the source code of a Geom4 application into an executable. Therefore, a successful Geom4 installation must include these three things: datasets, header files, and compiled libraries. The include folder in a typical Geom4 installation holds header files. The lib or lib64 folder holds compiled libraries. And the data subdirectory in the shared folder contains datasets. The bin folder holds configuration files. On Windows, the bin folder also contains compiled libraries. But it is perfectly okay to install Geom4 datasets in some other folders, and it is also okay to install the headers and the libraries in a folder of your own choice. That means we need a way to tell Geom4 applications where datasets, header files, and the libraries are located. We do this through something called environment variables. An environment variable is simply a string that holds some information in it. We can use this $sign or a pair of percentage signs to retrieve the information saved in it. They are saved in configuration files for your command line on Mac or Linux, and in registry on Windows. Two environment variables are necessary for all operating systems: Geom4 data dir, which holds the location of Geom4 datasets, and the path, which holds the location of Geom4 bin folder through which the compilation system finds headers and libraries. On Linux, LD library path needs to be set to hold the location of compiled libraries so that a Geom4 executable can find them during the runtime. On Windows, we can modify environmental variables through graphic user interface. Note that we need to close all windows for them to take effect. On Mac, this must be done by editing .zshellrc or .zshellenv file in your users folder. Since files started with a dot are hidden files, we need to use this command in the terminal to see them. Note that the path variable should contain folders to executables other than Geom4. We need to attach the original path value at the end of the new one. After saving the declaration of path and the Geom4 data dir, we need to close and reopen the terminal for the settings to take effect. On Linux, we need to edit the .bashrc file instead. We can export the variables one by one by ourselves or by simply sourcing geom4.sh file in the bin folder of your Geom4 installation. It declares all necessary environmental variables for you. Note that this method works for both Linux and Mac. Again, we need to reopen the terminal for these settings to take effect. On Linux and Mac, if our environmental variables are set correctly, we should be able to run geom4-config command in the bin folder of your Geom4 installation to print out information about our Geom4 installation. If you don't know how to use it, use this command to print out the menu. We can also use this command to check if Geom4 datasets are installed correctly or not. After these basic checks, we need to compile and run a Geom4 application to make sure that both headers and the libraries can be found during the compilation and the runtime. We can use an official Geom4 example application to check that. If we install those examples, we should be able to find them in the Share folder, Examples subfolder. The basic B1 example is a good start point. Be careful though, some of the official Geom4 examples evolve quickly together with the Geom4 libraries. Examples shipped with one version of Geom4 may not be able to be compiled with another version of Geom4. Please avoid version mismatch between Geom4 applications and Geom4 libraries. If you cannot find an official example in your Geom4 installation, consider using one of the universal Geom4 applications I mentioned in this video. On Linux or Mac, in the example application folder, run this command to generate necessary files in a folder called build for the compilation. Check the output of this command to make sure that there's no error message and the correct Geom4 installation is found. After that, run the make command to start the compilation. If there's no error message, check if the executable example B1 is generated in the build folder. If yes, we can launch it directly from the terminal. On Windows, please follow this tutorial to compile an example application. This is a typical error message that many of us might have seen. This is issued if Geom4 cannot find its datasets. We need to check if our Geom4 data dir is pointed to the right location. To summarize, please perform the following checks to verify your Geom4 installation. First, check the existence of datasets, header files, and compiled libraries in your hard disk. Second, check if the environment variables, Geom4 data dir path, and the LD library path are all pointed to the right locations in your hard disk. This can be done through graphic user interface on Windows or through Geom4-config command on Mac or Linux. Finally, please try to compile and run an example Geom4 application and pay attention to output of both build and the compilation process to identify potential problems.